Works it. They give me time to find the songs I'm singing. I don't know. How's it flipping? Let's do 157. 157. When we walk with the Lord in the light of His word, what a glory He sheds on our way. While we do His good will, He abides with us still, and with all who will trust and obey. Trust and obey, for there's no other way to be happy in Jesus but to trust and obey. Not a shadow can rise, not a cloud in the sky, but His smoke quickly drives it away. Not a doubt nor a fear, not a sigh nor a tear can abide while we trust and obey. Trust and obey, for there's no other way to be happy in Jesus but to trust and obey. Not a burden we bear, not a sorrow we share, but our toil He doth richly repay. Not a grief nor a loss, not a crown nor a cross, but is blessed if we trust and obey. Trust and obey, for there's no other way to be happy in Jesus but to trust and obey. Then in fellowship sweet we will sit at His feet, or we'll walk by His side in the way. What He says we will do, where He sends we will go. Never fear, only trust and obey. trust and obey. Oh, I think he'll be 46. Made my eyes water. I'm allergic to that shit. In this world I've tried most everything, and I'm happy now to say there's nothing like religion in the good old-fashioned way. I'm walking in the old-time way, and I want the world to know that I'd rather be an old-time Christian than anything I know. I'd rather be an old-time Christian than anything I know. There's nothing like an old-time Christian with a Christian love to show. I'm walking in the grand old highway, and I'm telling everywhere I go that I'd rather be an old-time Christian than anything I know. There are many things I'd like to be as my journey I pursue. I long to be a leader like the mortal man would do. I would like to be a millionaire with $1 million to bestow. I'd rather be an old-time Christian than anything I know. I'd rather be an old-time Christian than anything I know. There's nothing like an old-time Christian with a Christian love to show. I'm walking in the grand old highway, and I'm telling everywhere I go that I'd rather be an old-time Christian than anything I know. All the world is right inside God right now. I sing and pray and share. All my burdens have been lifted since the Savior brought me out. We'll tell the world both far and near as the trouble here below that I'd rather be an old-time Christian than anything I know. I'd rather be an old-time Christian than anything I know. There's nothing like an old-time Christian with a Christian love to show. I'm walking in the grand old highway, and I'm telling everywhere I go that I'd rather be an old-time Christian than anything I know. 235. Once like a burning prison I dwelled, no freedom from my sorrow I felt. But Jesus came and listened to me, and glory to God, He set me free. He set me free. He set me free. He broke the bonds of prison for me. Jesus is faithful, glory to God, He set me free. Now I am climbing higher each day, darkness of night has drifted away. My feet are planted on higher ground, and glory to God, I'm homeward bound. He set me free. He set me free. He broke the bonds of
She keeps asking me if 3 enough, is 5 too many. She's the song leader. It's good to see everybody out tonight. It's been a hectic week, for us, but it's been good though. The reaction of the news has been pretty good, so I was glad to have that, and everybody's pretty positive and excited. I was talking to some people yesterday, and I explained to them, I was going to work at the Space Center, and they're like, "Really? That's so cool." I said, "Yeah, but it probably sounds cooler than it is." So I called the person that's going to be my boss last night. I had a question for her, and I said, "So I told her what I told him. I said that it sounds cooler than it really is." She says, "No, actually, it's pretty cool." And she's been there for a long time. So, but do pray for us as we go through this transition, and we'll be praying for you all as well. And like I said, we're all family. I feel like we're splitting up a family here. I really do. But God's got plans. He's got plans for us. He's got plans for you. And we need to, and maybe they'll intersect again. We don't know this. We don't know what He's got planned. So we do appreciate each one of your prayers so far. And like I said, God has to be in this. He has to be. I told somebody the other day, I believe God works at Staples. Because once we made that first step, that first leap of faith, it was like pushing the easy button. It's just been amazing to watch how He works. So, but do continue to pray for us. We'll go ahead and we'll come around and pray. Anybody have a prayer request tonight?
There's a lady I work with. Her sister, her cancer's come back a second time. It's not looking really well. So, but they're still praying for miracles with that cancer. She's only, I think she's 53. Mm-hmm. So she's a pretty young lady. So going for her. The college hospital is the country hell, and they said he had 2 weeks, so I asked the college hospital, and when I was a baby, I had so one of the kidneys, one of them growing there was too big or something, so she had surgery.
And I'm not sure if this was a relative or a family friend. I'm not really sure how they're related, but I think it was in West Virginia. Somebody Barbie and her family know really well. She saw a post on Facebook the other day said, "Sorry for your loss," and she didn't know what had happened. And come to find out, her husband had turned a tractor over on himself. He was only in his 50s. So pray for that family as well.
Remember Charles Williams' family. I used to work with him. So me and that breakfast this morning last night. He was 2-year-old. His wife stayed sick for years. He had to take care of her. He had a heart attack. He last night that first. There was a lot of problems on that. I had to really not to listen to me. Mom will do good, and told me I had to get out. So you all pray for me that I'll be able to do it. One of His will is I'm going out too fast.
Yeah.
I had a friend that had surgery this morning, and just remember her. They don't know if she's got cancer forming or what.
And the other Mark McDavid I work with, his father-in-law passed away. So remember that family as well. Got a lot to pray about. And may have unspoken requests. Got even more to pray about. So all that you can and will, the altar is always open. Go to the Lord in prayer. most kind and gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we come to you today, God, we thank you, God, for your mercy and your grace, Lord. We thank you, God, most of all, Lord, for your Son, Lord, that died upon the cross, Lord. May we always remember, Lord, the gift, Lord, you gave us that day, when you died upon that cross. Lord, we thank you, God, for the love, Lord, that you've shown us. And Lord, for your mercy, Lord, and the guidance, Lord, that you give us. We know, God, that sometimes we don't understand what's coming. We don't understand, Lord, the reasons that you're doing things. But we know, God, that if we just follow you, Lord, that all things are going to work together for good. Lord, we thank you, God, for each one, Lord, that's come this way. Lord, for all the requests that we made here. Lord, there's so many sick. So many families that are hurting, Lord, who lost a loved one, Lord. So many that need a touch from you, Lord, young and old. Lord, we know, God, that you're still in control. And I pray, God, that you just be with us, Lord, and be with them, Lord, the ones that were on the hearts of those here. Touch each one that's sick, Lord, we pray. And, Lord, those that are lost most of all, Lord, we pray, God, to just send the convicting power down, Lord. Continue, Lord, to show your the patience, Lord, you've shown, long suffering, Lord, toward us, Lord. You said you'd show us in your word. We pray, God, you be with us tonight as we go through our business, and Lord, we open up your word and we look at the things that are coming. We thank you, God, for the promise, Lord, that we have of a place to go. Be with us, Lord. Lead us and guide us that you have us to go. In Jesus' name, we pray. Amen. Alrighty, I assume we announced the business meeting this past week, right? So we're good to go. We have announced it 2 Sundays in a row. I'm always one to follow the rules, you know. I like to do that. It makes you look better in front of people if you do that. You know, that's the way I've always been. And not only that, it's the right thing to do. We have rules for a reason, and a lot of people like to circumvent them. I've never been one to do that, but let's go ahead and get our business done, and then we'll see how much time we got left for our Bible study. Hopefully it won't take too long. So we'll go ahead and consider the church in order. And since this is a special business meeting, I guess we'll just forego the minutes and is that okay, I guess, and the treasurer's report, since this is just a special called business meeting. And we'll move on to new business. The first order of business, and it just came to my attention before church today, is we have the walkathon coming up. So we need to vote on an amount to send to donate to the walkathon. And if anybody wants to go to the walkathon, I do have information on that. It will be the 9th of September. I'm probably not going to be able to do it myself this year. It is not in the same place that it's always been. It's usually been between Mount Carmel and Van Hill Church. This year they have cut it in half. It's only going to be 5 miles. And it's going to be at the park down in Church Hill. What's the name? Huh? Laurel Run Park. So if anybody wants to go down there, you can feel free. You're welcome to, and support a worthy cause. But the money goes to missions, and that's what this fund was set up for. It's what the walkathon was set up for. So I need a motion. Can't do anything without a motion.
Well, all right. I make a motion that we send $200 to the walkathon.
Been moved. Do I have a second? Been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Well, all right. I proposed $200 is what we sent last year, I believe the year before, so I think that's what we send.
Okay. I would assume you would have known that, so I couldn't remember what it was. But any other discussion? All right. All those in favor of sending $200 to the walkathon, vote by voting aye. Opposed? All right. Motion carries. Now, the other order of business that we have is, you all know my situation, and I'm going to be leaving here soon. We have a position that we would like to propose that we create. Okay, this was not in our bylaws, so but there is a stipulation in the bylaws that if we want to create a position, that we can add an addendum in the other positions for other positions. So we have a position that we would like to create, and I want to ask Lisa to go ahead and put that up here if she can. And you all, I think most of you have a copy of it in your hand. But as an assistant pastor. And, I think just to give the highlights, the requirements are going to be the same as the pastor. If you're going to be an assistant pastor, I believe you ought to meet the same requirements. If anybody has any other things you'd like to add, you want him to be 6 feet tall, 6'4", 250 pounds, I don't know. Whatever you want, you can have that. We can add that if necessary. But it says a person being presented for vote as assistant pastor of Horse Creek Free Will Baptist Church must meet all the following qualifications. Meet the qualifications of a bishop as defined in 1 Timothy 3:1-7. There was no reason to. Those are stated pretty clearly. So, be an ordained or a licensed Free Will Baptist ministry with a card or letter in good standing, and must be a member of a Free Will Baptist church. Those, if you look in the section of pastor, those are word for word copied and pasted from that section. So it's the exact same qualifications. And this just describes the assistant pastor would be an optional position. You don't have to have an assistant pastor, but we wanted to create this in case we wanted to fill it. And it is not required to be filled. However, if filled, the term for an assistant pastor shall be for 1 year or until the next regular election. And then the exception is if it's within 6 months of the regular election, you shouldn't have to put somebody in May and then vote for them again in September. So that'll just extend to the following year, and that's what that last part says. So I think it works out to be about March. Is that right? Doing the math. If it's March or later, since our elections are in September, then it would just carry over to the following September. So it could be up to 1.5 years, but in general, it's going to be a year, and you would vote on them every year. And then the assistant pastor's responsibilities there at the bottom is to just assist the pastor, and filling the pulpit, visiting, things like that, washing his car, whatever he wants you to do, that's but no, just generally being a help, fulfilling all duties of a pastor in the absence of the pastor due to resignation or incapacitation. There's times you don't know what's going to happen. And this will give a little, give someone and make sure the pulpit is filled. And then advise members and other attendees on God's Word when asked. Visit members and other attendees in the hospital when possible. Attend deacons meetings as an advisor. Those are copied and pasted again from the role of a pastor. So, anybody have any suggestions of things you'd like to add? Well, let's get a motion on the floor, and then we can have the discussion.
Make a motion that we accept this amendment for this position to be added to our roster.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Or, no, it hasn't been seconded. Anybody have, okay, it's been moved and seconded now. Danny seconded. Any discussion now? This could be a quick business meeting. Nobody's having any discussion. Okay, hearing none. Were you raising your hand? Oh, okay. I understand. All right, hearing none, let's go ahead and vote on to add this to our bylaws as an addendum. It's not. It wouldn't be considered a bylaw change. All those in favor of adding the office of assistant pastor, vote by way of voting aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Now, given the situation, do we want to fill this position tonight? We have someone here in the church who is a licensed minister. He is a member, and he is willing. Now we can fill it tonight, obviously, and you wouldn't have to worry about it at the elections next week. But
the most to fill the position tonight?
Well, you're going to have to.
I'm gonna have to nominate Kevin Hilton as the assistant pastor. How's that?
Right, that's better. Well, I mean, it's the same thing, but yeah, we have to have a specific name. You see, God's worked in this. I believe He has. He knew things I didn't know 4 weeks ago. Okay, and He knew it back in September, I believe. But He's not going to leave His people starving. If you're hungry, He's going to feed you. And I believe this is a hungry church. So it was September, or was it August? I thought it was September, but and I was excited to have the help at the time. We probably should have done this back then, to be quite honest. And that's probably my fault. And we have a nomination. Do I have a second? Sorry.
I'll say.
Been seconded. Any other nominations? I have to ask that. All right. It's been nominated and seconded. Any discussion?
Do you accept the nomination?
I'll accept.
Now, just to clarify, this is putting him in as assistant pastor. This does not put him in automatically as pastor. The way it's worded is very careful, and he understands that. Now, what you all do after that, he will take over the duties of pastor, but he's not going to take over the office of pastor automatically. That would have to be done in a pastoral election, just to make sure you understand the way it's written. Okay. All those in favor, Brother Kevin Hilton taking the office of assistant pastor, vote boy voting aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'm unaware of any new business other than that. Is that Drew?
I got a suggestion, like everybody that's got these papers, catch up with you with a copy of the bylaws.
Yeah.
Now, soon, somebody wants to charge you, you're not in bylaws, I've got some attached to them.
Okay. Well, I will get a soft copy, probably to Lisa, since she seems to be our IT person now. But I'll get a soft copy, basically that she can edit and then print, and then that way it'll work out better, and you can keep them together. It won't just be one page, it'll be that one addendum can all be kept together. And as a matter of fact, it's on there. It's on the desktop there. That's what we're looking at. So I need a motion so we can get to the Bible study.
Motion we cease business.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor, vote by voting aye. All right. Opposed? Anybody still want to do business? All right. Well, look, trust me, this is exciting in a way, but it is hard in a lot of ways. And we threw our fleece out there, and let me tell you something, it was as wet as it could be when the ground was dry. And then we threw another fleece out there, and it was as dry as it could be while the ground was wet. There was no doubt what God wanted in this situation. I don't understand it. I don't know why, but we will understand it one of these days. So, that being said, last week I believe we did Thessalonians. And I told you we were going to try to do some prophecy stuff. Some of the end of days. And we talked about the rapture last week. We're going to back up just a little bit. Maybe not. Maybe we're ahead. I don't know. We don't really. We can sit here and say we know the time frame and the order of things that are going to occur. But I've always said this, that we are going to be very surprised at how much we got wrong while we were here. I really believe that. We're going to spend our first 100 million years in heaven just laughing about all the things we thought we knew. So I am going to start in Matthew chapter 24. And we'll see how far we get tonight. We probably won't get too far. And I'm just going to read the first couple of verses just kind of for background. But then we'll get on into it. And it says, And Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple. And Jesus said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. You know, that's pretty big prophecy. This is the temple of God. And here is the Son of God walking upon this earth saying it's going to be torn down. It says, And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming, and of the end of the world? They wanted to know. They were just as curious as we were. They came to Jesus privately. He was sitting on the Mount of Olives. By the way, that's where he's coming back to. That's where he ascended. That's where he's coming back to. He will set foot on his earth on that spot. Maybe he was sitting on that very spot. Maybe that was his favorite spot. I don't know. But he will be coming back, and they knew he was coming back, and they believed that he was coming back. But just like the world today, well, when's he coming? You said he's coming for years. There's a song out there called "Way Past Ready." I don't know if you've ever heard it. That's a great song if you haven't heard it. A nice, fast, upbeat song. It said, I can still remember when I first heard the preachers say that Jesus was coming again. I got so excited, I told everybody, let the celebration begin. And now I can't count exactly the times I've heard it preached that way. No doubt his coming's nearing. We'll soon see his appearing. How long do I have to wait? I'm way past ready for the Lord to come. Way past living where I don't belong. Way past what? Have you not heard it? Way past talking about the cloud he's coming back on. In other words, he's way past talking about it. Way past staring at the eastern sky, way past dreaming about the by and by, past singing Ever Getting Ready song, ever been sung. I'm way past ready, Lord Jesus, even so come. And I think a lot of the church is getting that way. I think we're way past ready. We're looking and looking and looking, and I believe the disciples, even on this day, were so excited that one of these days, the end of the world's coming, but they're going to spend eternity with God. One of these days, all this trouble's going to be over, all the separation's going to be over, all this stuff that hurts us is going to be over. But one of these days, they were looking forward to that day, and they said, when's it going to be? What are the signs of thy coming and of the end of the world? And what did he say? It says, And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. The first thing he said was, don't fall for everything that everybody says. We've got a lot of people saying a lot of things. I remember laughing at the people. I saw people wearing shirts when I was at I remember the first time I saw them was at Jones Mills Mall, and I believe it was October 11th, wasn't it? Was that the date? It was like October 11th, 2011 or something like that, October 13th, 2011, something around that. And I was like, what in the world does that shirt mean? And it was that was the day God came back. Turns out we all missed it. Everybody and their brother is predicted when they think God's going to come back. But what did he say? Take heed that no man deceive you. And we'll see on later how you'll hear things that you've heard all your life from people on the news, on TV, people you've talked to on the street. And what does he say? Don't believe them. Let no man deceive you. It says, For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. Now, aren't we hearing that today? First one I ever heard about was Jim Jones. He not only became a preacher of God, he at one point claimed that he was Jesus Christ come in the flesh. David Koresh, the leader of that cult, and I can't think of his name, the one that was out and they all killed themselves so they could hitch a ride on the comet. Yeah, that Hellbop, I think, yeah. But I forget the guy's name. But how many people have come along and claiming to be the Christ? You know, if you look at the Mormon Church, to be quite honest, they claim to have spoken to Jesus. He's already come back, set foot, and talked to what is it, John Smith? Is that his name? Yeah. So you know, it came and talked to him. You know, if Christ had come back, I think we would have all figured it out by now. Because I guarantee you, we ain't in heaven yet. You know, we'd all be there if he had. So, it says, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. We think, how can these people be so stupid? But God said it's going to happen. People will be deceived. There's a quote from the JFK movie. You know, I went down and saw the JFK Memorial, and I remember that movie. But one of the quotes that I remember from this movie, it says, the bigger the lie, the more people will believe it. It's amazing how that is. But if you can tell somebody the truth and they're like, whatever. But you tell them a big whopper that sounds completely outlandish. Well, I just saw a UFO land on the lawn and it took right back. They'll about believe you. Don't be deceived. God gave us a brain. Remember, be like the scarecrow. Use your brain. All right. But we have to use common sense and know and listen to the one that's telling the truth, and that's the one who wrote all these words down. We can't be deceived by what's going on in the world. And what does it say? But I want you to listen as we read down through these verses and think about what it's like today. So yeah, check 1. Many shall come in my name and claim that I am Christ. Already happening. Happening every day. Still happening today. People are claiming to be the Christ. It says, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Well, we can't cross that one off, can we? Oh, wait. How many wars are we in right now? I mean, honestly, we're getting ready to there's a rumor we're going to have a war with North Korea. We're in a war with Afghanistan, talking about sending more soldiers over there, or maybe he's pulling them out. I don't know. We've been in Iraq lately. We're fighting with terrorists every single day. There's just so much going on, so much fighting, so much hatred. We fight a war right here in this country all the time. Yeah, look in Charlottesville, what happened. I mean, that's just right up the road. It's 4 hours up the road. And there's a war going on even in this country, within this country, dividing it. And so, you know, it's happening. And that's just this country. By the way, this was written in Israel. So the United States ain't the center of the world. I just want to make it perfectly clear. We all like to think, well, God's showing the signs in heaven. Yeah, He is. There was an eclipse here. There wasn't an eclipse over in Israel. Does that mean He's not showing them signs? No, He's showing the signs all over the world. But you know, it's something to keep in mind. We're going to hear wars and rumors of wars. What does He say, though? You've got deceivers. You've got wars going on. You've got people talking about war. But what did He say? See that ye be not troubled. That's hard, isn't it? It's hard to not be troubled with all these things. We worry about this world all the time, don't we? We're like, how in the world bad? How much worse could it get? Don't ask. It's going to get a lot worse. Make no mistake about it. Once the church is gone, it will get worse. This is vacation time compared to what it's going to be. This is paradise compared to the tribulation that's coming upon this earth. Now, it's not paradise compared to where we're going. Where we're going, it will be paradise. It says, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. These are just the signs of the end. Why does he say the end is not yet? Even when this stuff's happening, we may be getting close, but there's still that time of trouble. The 7 years of great tribulation that's coming after that. These are the signs before that. This isn't the time of trouble. See if this sounds familiar. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. Yep, check. And there shall be famines and pestilences, which are diseases. How many Ebola outbreaks do we need to see before we believe this? We've had the AIDS virus. We've had the, look at the cancer today. I mean, we call it, cancer is a disease. We like to think it's not a virus, so it's not. It is a disease. It really is. I would consider that pestilence. All these things, and earthquakes in diverse places. We had an earthquake in Louisa, Virginia, that damaged that damaged the Washington Monument back in we looked up the year. What was it? 2009, or was it more recent than that? I don't remember. But I remember it was recent. I just don't remember when it was. But we've had earthquakes in North Carolina. Earthquakes in California, obviously. We have earthquakes there all the time. But it's amazing how more frequently they're occurring. In diverse places. And that's what it's talking about. Diverse. Many places. Okay. I knew it was around there. Okay. These kids can find anything. But I want you to notice what verse 8 says. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Just the beginning. Look what's coming. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. Folks, we like to talk about persecution. He's not talking about somebody talking about us. He's not talking about people that are just simply sticking their nose up in the air and not liking Christians. He's talking about people that want us dead because we're Christians. That's what's coming. We're getting there, aren't we? The world, if you look at Al-Qaeda, you look at the Muslim nation, they want us dead. They would love to see Israel wiped off the face of the earth. They would like to see all Christians eradicated. Why? Because it's a threat to Satan, and they're serving him. You know, it's. We like to think we've got it bad. We like to think, woe is me, I can't believe the world hates us so much. Oh my gosh, they took prayer out of schools. No, they didn't. We took prayer out of schools. We stopped praying. You know, oh my gosh, they did this, they did that. They don't have any power over us. That's why he says, be not troubled. They don't have any power over us. None. We serve the one that created it all. And no matter what they do to us, we're still victorious. And we shall be hated of all nations. Yeah. The world is going to turn against the Christians. Not just simply. You know, one of the things that that book talked about, the Left Behind series, was a one world religion. And the one thing they couldn't stand was the people who stood as Christians. And the whole world was worshiping the Antichrist. And they thought they were going through all the motions. You know, there's a lot of religions out there that have kind of a lot of ceremonies, and it makes it look really religious, but they have no idea who it is they're serving. Some do, some don't. I'm not saying that they're all like that. But, you know, they didn't realize who they were serving. They were deceived. And, you know, I believe that's the way it's going to be. I believe the world is going to be deceived one of these days. Well, they're already being deceived. And you know, I believe they're going to follow. They're looking to follow something. They really are. But what I say, the bigger the lie, the less people will believe it. We're telling absolute truth, and nobody believes it. The world doesn't anyway. Only those that trust in God are the ones believing it. So they're going to hate us. Every nation. And I want you to see in verse 10, and then I'm going to stop and see if y'all have any kind of comments, because y'all being real quiet again. And then shall many be offended. Oh no. We haven't seen that in the news lately, have we? Everybody's offended about everything anymore. Statues. You can look at somebody the wrong way and they say, I know what he's thinking. And they'll get offended and you don't even know what in the world you looked at. You were probably just trying to hold back a sneeze or something. I mean, honestly, they'll be like, he looked through me. He hates me. I can't believe he would do that, you know. They think everything's about them. Every action that you take is about them. Folks, we're not that important. And not everybody's out to get us, you know. We like to think they are. We like to think this world revolves around us. And, you know, everybody's like, well, Eastman will want to keep you. Eastman will want to. I'm like, Eastman's going to be here long after I'm gone. Horse Creek Free Will Baptist will be here long after I'm gone. And you know, there's nobody in this world that's irreplaceable. And the world doesn't revolve around any one of us. It revolves around one. And Him only. And that's what we have to remember, is He's the one we're serving. But yet the world today wants to get offended. They just love to get offended. You can say, I mean, there are all kinds of things that happen in the school systems too. I mean, you see it as teachers. I was reading a review on some school systems the other day, and one of them said, I looked at a kid and she was mad about her grades, so she went and made up a story on me, and the school system believed it. And you know, that happens. And maybe he did what she said he did, but it wasn't, or I assumed it was a he. I don't know. But it said his eyes weren't looking into her eyes. It was looking other places, is what it said. You know, my eyes wander all the time. I don't know where I'm looking most of the time. I have this blank stare. I really do. But, you know, there's things, and we assume we know what's in people's head. There's only one that knows every hair on our head, the one that knows all our thoughts, and He's the only one. We can't assume we know the motivations behind people's actions. We can't assume we know why it is that people do things. But we don't need to be offended. I mean, sin ought to offend us, period. People should not. That's just the way I look at it. And shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. Well, I'm telling you what, if we aren't seeing that today, I don't know what we are seeing. It feels like you can't trust anybody. It feels like, and I've been in situations, and just in different places where I'm like, wow, I thought I could trust that person, and then he went behind my back. I can't believe that. Not in the church. I'm not saying anything about anybody here. Not that I know of. He went behind my back. He's done a good job of hiding it. I'm letting you know. But please hide it for about 3 more weeks if you don't care. I don't have to. But you know, but it hurts people when you feel like you've been betrayed. When people really do hate you. When you find out, and we've seen it in the school systems. We've seen it in the workplace. We've seen it, you know, people will do anything to step on you to get a little higher. I can't do that. I want to be who I am and get I want to get recognition for the things that I do, not the things that I'm taking credit for. There will be people that you'll email them and you'll give them an answer, and then they'll say, well, I just found this out. I just came up with this, you know, or something like that. I've seen it happen. And you know very well who it was that really had the answer, but they want to take credit for it, just so they can move up the line just a little bit farther. And that's betrayal. We see it in our marriages. We see it in our households. We see it in with our children. We see it at work. We see it everywhere in the world today, that everybody is looking out for themselves. We're doing exactly the opposite of what God says. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus, talking about esteeming others greater than yourself. Preached on that 2 weeks ago, I think. And that's the way we ought to be. And for like that, there won't be any betrayal, because if you put them first, then you're focused on their needs. Anybody have anything?
Verse 6 says, and you shall hear the Lord, remember the Lord, see that you be not troubled, but always be this thing to fight. And the end is not yet. The Lord's going to take care of his children.
Mm-hmm.
No, what's going to go away? He's going to take care of it. You trust him and serve him. Do what's right.
Yeah.
We won't have to be troubled. If we not worry about it. The Father did hear the little condition, you know, that yes, I know it's saying, what will they do?
What bothers me most of all about it are the people that have to go over and serve and be away from their families. You know, I've had that discussion at work, and even here. You know how important our families ought to be to us, and they are to them, just the same as they are to us. But you know, they volunteered to serve, and we're certainly thankful for that. But it's hard. I mean, Betty's family, her grandson-in-law, I guess, right? Is it grandson? Yeah, you got two of them. They're away from their families for 9 months a year at a time. And I'll be honest with you, I've been away from Barbie for 3 weeks. I can't understand that. I couldn't. But they do it, and why do they do it? Because they're thinking of others before themselves. They're not doing it to gain recognition or to do anything like that. They're doing it because they're serving their country. And you know, you ought to thank them when you see them, the ones that have served. Because I'll tell you what, there's a lot of people in this country that take them for granted and take their freedoms for granted. There was a bunch of them up in Charlottesville on both sides. Now, I happen to agree with Trump. I believe both sides are wrong on this one, okay? But now, violence is no way to answer it, period. It never will be. Especially if you're going to sit there and call yourself a Christian. I don't believe a Christian ought to be doing that. You can stand up for what's right, but I don't believe that, I don't think Jesus ever laid a hand on anybody. Now, he stood up. He told the truth. He overturned some tables for money changers and things like that. He made it loud and clear what it was that was right and what it was that was wrong. But violence, he never did. The only violence that happened in Jesus' life happened to him, not by him.
You know, you were talking about dividing from the country and, you know, betraying one another. And in the history of just America, if you go back to the history of America, America's been divided amongst itself many times. You know, and everybody talks about how bad this is and how it is bad because we have social media now, we have the news, and we have all that. But if you go back and look at the history, you know, America's been a divided country at different times in its history. You know, but the end's going to end that.
Right.
You know? God's going to have his way. It's the people that give away because, you know, his people are very selfish.
Mm-hmm.
And they're very, oh, woe is me type of people. And although we think it's getting worse, I don't know if it is or not. I think it's just people's nature. It's more.
I think we know about it more.
Yeah, we know about it more today. I mean, you know, I'm sure the people during the Civil War thought it was terrible, you know. But you had to drive, you know, by horse and buggy 5 miles down the road to get to somebody else's house to talk about that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Now you have cameras and smartphones.
and everything's immediate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what, we'll just stop right there because it kind of starts kind of a new section. But I want to, we can take our time. We'll try to get through it in the next, I think 2 weeks. Yeah. So I might just go ahead and teach the last 2 weeks if you don't care. That's all right. But we'll try to get through this, and there are a lot of things in here, and I want you to pay attention to them because we have to be careful, folks. What was it that one? I love that one country song. You got to stand for something, or you'll fall for anything. The reason the people are so deceived is they're not standing for anything. They're looking for someone to follow, and anyone besides God. They're looking for a man to follow. And I've told you many times here, don't follow the guy standing behind this pulpit. Follow God, and if he's in line if the pastor's in line, you'll be right there with him, okay? But you can't follow the pastor. You have to follow the one who died on the cross, and that's Jesus. If you follow him and you're going away from the pastor, then that might not be somebody you want to be associated with anyway. So be careful is I guess the message for tonight. Don't be deceived. But the end is coming. And it may happen. It may be that I don't get a leave. And we're all in heaven before September 18th gets here. Who knows? But we'll see. It may be that we're all there. And you know what? That'll be fine with me. I'm way past ready. I don't think anything else has to be fulfilled. I think we're seeing the stuff that's happening in the end of the time. But like Debbie said, it's stuff that's been happening for a long time. It's stuff that's been happening since mankind left the Garden of Eden, I believe. But yet, we're hearing more and more about it. Anybody else? Alrighty. Well,
You did see the nominating committee right after church.
Okay.
And if I can see the two deacons as well.
Okay.
Real quick.
Alright. Anybody else? Everybody come back Sunday, and we'll see you at 10 o'clock, I guess. And then Sunday night at 6, if you can't make Sunday morning. Anybody else have anything? All right.
I'd like to thank the Lord for allowing me to, wake up this morning to celebrate another birthday.
Oh yeah, happy birthday! Huh?
Once you get past 50, you don't want to celebrate birthdays, but that what I'm most thankful for tonight is, well, I'm thankful for a lot of things, but my family, almost all my family here. In the world we live in today, a lot of people can't say that, and I know I'll be on plans, and I'm grateful.
Yes, happy birthday again. I told you at 6:30 this morning though, on Facebook.
Yeah,
Well, let's all stand. Danny, would you dismiss us?
Pray that you be with each one of us to go our separate ways.
You got homework for them?